Have you heard about the updated Form I-9? Do you want to know how to properly fill out the form? Don't worry, by the end of this short video, you will have answers to all your questions about the Form I-9. So let's get started. Form I-9 is used for verifying the identity and employment authorization of those people hired for employment in the U.S. As an employer, you must complete this form each time you hire a person to perform labor or services in the U.S. in return for wages. This includes citizens and non-citizens alike. The I-9 form is for new hires only. It is not applicable to existing employees. Let's look at some of the key changes. Form I-9 is now 2 pages instead of 1 with a different look from the previous version. The entire first page is Section 1, Employee Information, which contains new data, fields for the employee's telephone number, email address, and foreign passport information. The second page includes Section 2, Employer Authorization, and Section 3, Re-verification and Rehires. Here are the points of interest for Section 1. The employee must complete Section 1 no later than the first day of employment. That's right. Before the employee leaves work on the first day, this form must be filled out. If the employee cannot complete it without assistance, or if he or she needs Form I-9 translated, someone may assist him or her. Keep in mind that the Spanish version of Form I-9 can only be filled out by employers and employees in Puerto Rico. No one may assist. The employer is responsible for reviewing and ensuring that your employee fully and properly completes Section 1. Now let's go into more detail on how to properly fill out the Form I-9. This is the only section the employee is required to complete. The employee enters the same information as he or she would in the previous form. Legal name. If they don't have a middle name, they can write "not applicable" in the box. Then they will enter their full address. Please note, employees may not enter a P.O. box in this field. Now enter the date of birth, social security number, email address, and telephone number. Entering their social security number is optional unless you utilize E-Verify. Entering their email address or telephone number is voluntary. If the employee chooses not to enter these, make sure "not applicable" appears in these fields. The employee then reads the warning and attests to their citizenship or immigration status by checking the appropriate box. The employee then signs and dates Section 1. If they use a preparer or translator to fill out the form, that person must certify that he or she assisted the employee by completing the preparer and/or translator certification block. The employee is now done with filling out the I-9. Now let's review Section 2, Employer Authorization. Here are the points of interest for Section 2. The employee must present an original document or documents that show his or her identity and employment authorization within 3 business days of the date employment begins. For example, if the employee begins employment on Monday, you must complete Section 2 by Wednesday. You must physically examine each original document to determine if it reasonably appears to be genuine and to relate to the new hire. The employee must be allowed to choose which documents he or she wants to present from the list of acceptable documents. The employee may provide a single List A document or a List B and C document. The list appears in Part 8 and on the last page of Form I-9. You may not specify which documents an employee must present. However, you may only accept unexpired documents. The person who examines the documents must be the same person who signs Section 2. Remember, if you participate in E-Verify, you may only accept List B documents that bear a photograph. Enter the same information as you would in the previous form. In the employee's name box, it is important that the name entered in Section 1 needs to match the full legal name on the documents. Document titles, issuing authority, document number, and the expiration date from original documents supplied by the employee must also match the documents supplied by the employee. Employers may, but are not required to, photocopy the documents presented. If photocopies are made, they should be made for all new hires or re-verifications. Then, enter the date of hire, which is the employee's first day of work. The employer or authorized representative then attests to physically examining the documents provided by signing and dating the signature and date fields in Section 2. Finally, enter the business name and address. Now, let's briefly go through Section 3, Re-verification and Rehires. When an employee's employment authorization document expires, you must re-verify his or her employment authorization no later than the date employment authorization expires. Here are the points of interest for Section 3. If you rehire an employee within 3 years of the original I-9 completion, you may use Section 3. Or if Section 3 has already been used for a previous re-verification or update, use a new Form I-9. If you use a new form, enter the employee's name in the space provided at the top of Section 2. Complete Section 3 and retain only the second page of the new form with the original. The employee must present a document that shows current employment authorization. Any document from List A or List C. If the employee cannot provide you with proof of current employment authorization, you cannot continue to employ that person. There you have it, the easy and simplified version of how to properly fill out the Form I-9. If you have any questions on the updated form or want more information on any other employment-related issues, please contact EESI at 888-465-1171.